Another video, folks. Rolland Martin, he's saying that the progressives, and I think he's right, the progressive has this view of nihilistic view, take the whole system down. And the system has to go down, but not what they want. And he's saying that, I don't think he's saying a lot of things. He's saying that there's other things that you have to be mindful of, like civil rights. That's what they're really talking about. Can't just bold and certain other things. Yeah, civil rights and minorities. You can't just, like, it becomes like Sanders talks about the working class, and he doesn't want to deal with like other things, like justice, civil rights, and justice, and certain things they don't want to deal with in the progressive movement. I think he did in the first campaign. They didn't do that. Second campaign, they did address that. They went to more black voters in the second campaign in 2020. First one he didn't. But Hillary got most of the black votes, I think, in the primaries. But he they have a discussion, they described that the Bernie left is, he mentioned Berny Sanders, is the kind of burn it down nihilism kind of way. They're doing it. It's not, they kind of like the MAGA, that's what he's saying. It's interesting. They like the MAGA, like they just burn everything down, burn the system down. System has to be taken down, but strategically it has to be taken down. They have to be smart. But people say, yeah, I'm doing Rolland Martin. He's a Democratic shill. People say he's kind of a shill, but he makes good points. He's right. I mean, I think we have to listen to some people, and the left has to listen to people on the left, like more liberals. The far left has to listen to people like the liberal left, like these liberals or centrists. I think there you could get a coalition. You can't just deal with, and he's saying that the MAGA, you can't deal with the MAGA. Maybe some of them, but most of them, or have 50-50, maybe you could deal with them. But a lot of them are racist and misogynist. You can't deal with them. And he's talking about Cenk Uygur, but I'm not going to show you that part. He said Cenk Uygur doing this, sucking up to MAGA. Yeah, you can't deal with those people. I mean, why does he go to like the centrist left, the centrist people? I mean, but you know why? He's just a grift. He's a grifter. But yeah, folks, I'm gonna tell you. That's what he said. I'm gonna listen to this guy. He has a great points. He has a great point. I want to listen to him. Hear what he says. Listen to what he says.
Convict, he could have never run again.
That's exactly right. So if you think this vote is going to keep you out of hell, let's find out together. Anyway, that having been said, Rolland, you really put your finger on it. Of course, many voters who voted for Sanders voted for Trump. And, I understand the argument. Bernie Sanders, who was Jesse Jackson's the leader of the Rainbow Coalition campaign in Vermont when Jackson ran for president in '84, who has always put class at the center, not ignoring race, but almost always glossing over. Bernie's an old school socialist, old school democratic socialist with Marxist leanings. And
like I was saying, folks,
absolutely understand the argument. I have a lot of friends that way. They will argue that if you don't force the crisis, ultimately you can't get to the resolution. And there's a lot to be said for that argument, but they seem to forget that there are people in harm's way. And those people are going to suffer right now. Now, we're Southerners. Nolan know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about out of Texas, Rolland. We ain't got to like white people, and they ain't got to like us for us to pull together and do some things together. We all know folks like that.
Right.
People who, people who would look at us and say, why are you talking to so-and-so? I said, hey, Jeb ain't going to bother us. He going to vote the same way those are the Jimmy Carter people. Those people are dying now. Most of them dead. These people that Jimmy Carter was able to corral for one last walk in the sun for the possibility of an America. That America died with James Earl Carter, friends. That having been said, what we are faced with now is probably the inevitable. What Mayor Woodfin said about the fact that scientific research in the United States are not competing just with people in the United States, but the world, he's absolutely right. But here's where I think we have a problem. And this is where I think this will ultimately read the death of the United States of America. And Dr. King talked about this when he said that when America dies, the autopsy part of it will read Vietnam. And he also talked about it when he said that, our friendship with Canada isn't based on us being Americans. Our friendship with Canada is based on us being black people and that being the place where the North Star was. The problem we have is we believe in this patriotic myth making, so much so that even Cory Booker, good brother Cory Booker, will continue to talk about colleagues. I mean, these people are not your colleagues, my friend, just because of where they came out their mother's womb. And they're working on birthright citizenship. And do not believe for a second that that is safe. You better go read that Kim
hear that, folks?
Case from the late 1800s where the Chinese guy came over here, and they are really not aiming at the beginning of where you came out your mother's womb, but the second part of that sentence, which is subject to the authority thereof. They might be able to get birthright citizenship.
Yep. The authority of the district. That's what it says. So they could deny you. They're gonna do what? They're gonna do that. It's gonna go to the Supreme Court, and they might rule the other way. They might say, no, the district couldn't deny you your birthright. Huh. Wow.
Which would add them to the majority of countries in the world, because only about 20% of the countries in the world actually deal with birthright citizenship. Much of it is bloodline. We have never been Americans, and we will never be Americans. Okay? I don't care how clever and how brilliant and how remixing Kendrick Lamar can do a halftime show with Stars and Stripes and Uncle Sam can come out, Samuel L. Jackson. You're never going to be an American in the eyes of these white nationalists.
Yep.
To pretend that you are, however, works in there to your advantage, and I'll tell you why.
Exactly.
With Lotto 649's two jackpots,
get out of
what
here,
possible
man.
could you find?
There are people who believe in this country. I believe the young lady that you talked about earlier with Congressman Ivey, Danielle Sassoon, does. She is a dyed-in-the-wool Federalist Society. She's 38 years old. She has rocketed up to the top of the Southern District of New York, the so-called independent federal prosecutors, and she did it without compromising any of her rock-solid values, Antonin Scalia, and she was promoted in serial Democratic-appointed attorneys in New York. She made her advances in AGs who were appointed by the Obama administration, the Biden administration. So this is a kind of ideologue who believes in the rule of law. What you just saw is that these white nationalists, as you said, they don't believe in any law. They're going to purge the very Federalists. This is why John Roberts probably wearing a diaper to work every day, because he's defecating in his pants, because he realizes with Citizens United, you unleashed this beast. You made the mistake of thinking that they believe in this country. They do not, which is why Elon Musk ain't gonna have no beef with China, because they just opened a mega battery factory in China this week. Understand? So it comes down to this. If we're gonna fight these people, we have to understand. And what we just heard Dr. Haynes say should send a chill through everybody. These white boys see the earth as a material resource to cannibalize and move forward. Elon Musk sees it as a means to an end. The end is Mars. He's going to leave your ass here. The bottom line is the only people who believe in the possibilities of America are either naive or so willing to put themselves in harm's way, and that's a lot of people in the Black Power, the Civil Rights Movement wanted to do it, or they simply are stupid. And so what we have to do at this point is understand our history so deeply that when we move forward, combined with this fact, and you talked about this every time, Rolland, you talk about it all the time. Reverend Barber did something today he had never done in public that I've seen in the last few, which is come out on a political side. You don't do that for prayers of the breach.
No.
We've got to understand we have the numbers. I'm not just talking about black people, but it's got to come out of a black base.
Yeah.
We have the numbers to stop this. And I don't mean to stop it in the short term only. I mean to achieve a type of vision that of Bernie Sanders.
To stop it, maybe. We'll see. We shall see. I think it's going to play out, what they're going to play out. This is probably prophecy. Some say this whole thing has to play out. This is going back to Christianity. Some say this is Bible prophecy. So this has to, so you're not going to stop it. But we'll see.
Or Jesse Jackson, or Nina Turner, or for that matter, the Congressional Black Caucus actually believe in. But in order to do it, we got to drop this pretense that we're talking with colleagues and comrades. These people are our open enemies. And they're the open enemies of every.
Yep, some of them are. Actually, the right races are. The white nationalists, you're right, they're the enemy. They're the enemy.
Everything except their agenda. They will throw the white people overboard, just like they did with Danielle Sassoon today.
Wow.
Support the work that we do, Join.
Yep, folks, that's it. He dropped the mic on that. There's some controversial things there. What do you think, folks? I mean, the progressive movement, they have to strategize how to do this. That's the problem. He's saying that, and a lot of Bernie supporters voted for Trump. Well, not a lot, but a few. And why is that? I guess they're populists. They want to get out the establishment. That's what it is. But to do at what cost? You have to know what you're doing. And then there's people going to be effective. You have to care about civil rights. Has to be the whole movement of everybody, not just like for frank populist white folks. I mean, white populists. And some say that's identity politics. You talk about black people and others, marginalized group. But how about when you talk about white people, just white people? That's identity politics too. It's white identity politics. That's what Bernie kind of did. His first roundabout. But he's trying to get that. We need everybody has to rise up, not just. You can't just cater to white folks. You do, but you have to care about civil rights also. I mean, and Trump's attacking DEI, which affects white women a lot. So there you go. Can't just gloss that over. Some people on the left are doing that. I mean, and liberals. Well, mostly liberals are doing that. I don't say the left. The left is not. And mostly liberals. So-called liberals. And there's folks. There's another one. What do you think about that? Comment or like. I'm out.